What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a great day. Good morning to everyone out there in the world. I thought I would come on and, you know, listen in with Donald J. Trump, greatest president that ever lived. He's about to do a press conference any minute. So, you know what? Why not? Let's come on over here and see what he's talking about. I hope it ain't nothing crazy. I got people messaging me last night saying that Trump's dropping out of the race and all types of craziness. I don't think it's that. I'm almost 100% sure that it's not going to be that. But at this point, anything's possible. That's the way I'm looking at it. So yeah, we're just sitting here waiting for Big Papa Trump to come on out, man. See what he got. How's everybody doing out there? How is everyone doing today? You know, thinking about it, my man is always late to press conferences every time. Every time. Yeah. Oh, I hear something happening. No? Good morning. Good morning. Exactly. He won't drop out. He is no quitter. Good morning, friends. Good morning. Good morning. Here we go. Coming out. Casey, what's up, brother? I think he's coming out. They're cheering.
Thank you very much, everybody. This is a case where if they can do this to me, they can do this to anyone. And these are bad people. These are, in many cases, I believe, sick people. When you look at our country, what's happening where millions and millions of people are flowing in from all parts of the world, not just South America, from Africa, from Asia, from the Middle East, and they're coming in from jails and prisons, and they're coming in from mental institutions and insane asylums. They're coming in from all over the world into our country. And we have a president and a group of fascists that don't want to do anything about it because they could right now, today, he could stop it. But he's not. They're destroying our country. Our country is in very bad shape. And they're very much against me saying these things. They want to raise your taxes by 4 times. They want to stop you from having cars with their ridiculous mandates that make it impossible for you to get a car or afford a car. Would make it very possible for China to build all of our cars. It's a very serious problem that we have. We just went through one of many experiences where we had a conflicted judge, highly conflicted. There's never been a more conflicted judge. Now, I'm under a gag order, which nobody's ever been under. No presidential candidate's ever been under a gag order before. I'm under a gag order, nasty gag order, where I've had to pay thousands of dollars in penalties and fines and was threatened with jail. Think of it. I'm the leading candidate. I'm leading Biden by a lot, and I'm leading the Republicans to the point where that's over. So I'm the leading person for president, and I'm under a gag order by a man that can't put 2 sentences together, given by a court, and they are in total conjunction with the White House and the DOJ, just so you understand. This is all done by Biden and his people. Maybe his people, more importantly. I don't know if Biden knows too much about it, because I don't know if he knows about anything. But he's nevertheless the president, so we have to use his name. And this is done by Washington, and nobody's ever seen anything like it. So we have a judge who's highly conflicted. You know what the confliction is. Nobody wants to write about it, and I'm not allowed to talk about it. If I do, he said, I get put in jail. So we'll play that game a little bit longer. We won't talk about it, but you're allowed to talk about it. I hope you do, because there's never been anybody so conflicted as this.
I got you.
As
I
far
got you,
as
Trump.
the trial itself, it was very unfair. We weren't allowed to use our election expert under any circumstances. You saw what happened to some of the witnesses that were on our side. They were literally crucified by this man who looks like an angel, but he's really a devil. He looks so nice and soft. People say, oh, he seems like such a nice man. No, unless you saw him in action. And you saw that with a certain witness that went through hell. And when we wanted to do things, he wouldn't let him, he wouldn't let us do those things. But when the government wanted something, they got everything. They got everything they wanted. It was a rigged trial. We wanted a venue change where we could have a fair trial. We didn't get it. We wanted a judge change. We wanted a judge that wasn't conflicted. And obviously he didn't do that. There's nobody's ever seen anything like it. We had a DA who was a failed DA. Crime is rampant in New York, violent crime. That's what he's really supposed to be looking at. Crime is rampant in New York. Yesterday in McDonald's, you had a man hitting him up with machetes, a machete. Whoever can imagine even a machete being wielded in a store, in a place where they're eating and he's going rampant. And Bragg is down watching a trial on what they call crimes. They're falsifying business records. That sounds so bad. To me, it sounds very bad. You know, it's only a misdemeanor, but to me, it sounds so bad. When they say falsifying business, that's a bad thing for me. I've never had that before. I'm falsifying. You know what falsifying business records is? In the first degree. They say falsifying business records. Sounds so good, right? It means that legal expense. I paid a lawyer, totally legal. I paid a lawyer a legal expense. And a bookkeeper, without any knowledge from me, correctly marked it down in the books. A very professional woman, highly respected. She testified. Marked it down in the books as a legal expense. So a legal expense, paid a lawyer, is a legal expense in the books. It's not sheetrock, construction, or any other thing. It's a legal expense. Think of that. This is what the falsification of business records were. And I said, what else are you going to call it? What else are you going to call it? Now, I would have testified. I wanted to testify. The theory is you never testify because as soon as you testify, anybody, if it were George Washington, don't testify because they'll get you on something that you said slightly wrong and then they sue you for perjury. But I didn't care about that. I wanted to. But the judge allowed them to go into everything that I was ever involved in, not this case, everything that I was ever involved in, which is a first. In other words, you could go into every single thing that I ever did. Was he a bad boy here? Was he a bad boy there? And my lawyer said, what do you need to go through? And all you wanted to do is testify simply on this case. Because I would have loved to have testified. To this day, I would have liked to have testified. But you would have said something out of whack, like it was a beautiful sunny day and it was actually raining out. And I very much appreciate the big crowd of people outside. That's incredible what's happening. The level of support has been incredible. So the whole thing is legal expense was marked down as legal expense. Think of it. This is the crime that I committed that I'm supposed to go to jail for 187 years for. When you have violent crime all over this city at levels that nobody's ever seen before, where you have businesses leaving, and businesses are leaving because of this, because heads of businesses say, man, we don't want to get involved with that. I could go through the books of any business person in this city, and I could find things that in theory, I guess, let's indict him, let's destroy his life. But I'm out there, and I don't mind being out there because I'm doing something for this country, and I'm doing something for our Constitution. It's very important, far beyond me. And this can't be allowed to happen to other presidents. It should never be allowed to happen in the future. But this is far beyond me. This is bigger than Trump. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than my presidency. And the people understand it because I just see a poll just came out, the Daily Mail. That was the first one, came out, was done last night right after the verdict, where I'm up 6 points. 6 points from what we already were. We were leading fairly substantially. We're up 6 points in the Daily Mail poll. Now, maybe other polls come out and it says something differently, but a lot of people have predicted it because the public understands and they understand what's going on. This is a scam. There's a rigged trial. It shouldn't have been in that venue. We shouldn't have had that judge. He should have allowed us to have an election expert. We had the best expert, most respected expert, head of the Federal Elections Commission. He was all set to testify. He was waiting for 2 days. And when it was his turn, Bragg's people protested. And the judge knocked him out, said, you can't testify. He actually said, you can't testify for anything having to do with the trial. You can say what the federal elections is. Well, that doesn't help. Everybody knows that. But you can't testify. So essentially, he wasn't able to testify. Other people weren't able to testify. But with these people, they were able to use people salacious. By the way, and nothing ever happened. There was no anything. Nothing ever happened, and they know it. But they were as salacious as they could be, and it had nothing to do with the case, but it had to do with politics. And do you notice the timing? The timing was perfect. This case was dead. It was dropped by every agency, every governmental board. It was dropped by the highly respected Southern District. They said, no, there's no case here. It was dropped by federal election, and that's what it's about. This is about a federal election, not a state election. You're not even allowed to look at it. They took the state and the city, and they went into a federal election. They're not allowed. The people from federal election, Southern District, and Washington dropped the case. Everybody dropped the case. There was no case. Cy Vance dropped the case. And when Bragg came in, he said, this is the most ridiculous case I've ever seen. And who would have a certain person, again, gag order, who would have a certain person like this ever testify? He said, this is essentially one of the worst people I've ever seen ever to testify. He said, the craziest case I've ever seen. This is Bragg. Then when I announced I was running for president, long time later, they decided to revive this case. And they got a judge, Judge Marchand, who was responsible for another case that was also brought. It destroyed the life of a very good man, by the way, destroyed the life of a very good man who went to prison once, and then they just put him in prison again because they said he lied. He didn't lie. I looked at the statements he made. In fact, he didn't remember something, and they put him in jail. Again, they've destroyed him. With me for many years, he was an honorable person. He was an honest man. And if you look at what he did, supposedly, it never happened. There's never been anything like this. Over the education of his grandchildren. Over, he didn't report that he had a car or 2 cars on his income. I don't know. I wonder how many people here have cars. I wonder how many people said, oh, gee, I have a car that's worth X dollars. How do you even figure it? And I guess you do have to report it, but I would say probably almost nobody does. Nobody even thinks about it. They put this man, they destroyed this man, but they put him in jail again because they didn't want him to testify. They didn't want him to testify. That's why he went to jail. They put him in jail twice. He's 77 years old. Now, normally I'd say that's an old guy, but I don't feel 77. Nobody ever says that about me. I'd like them to say, gee, we have to have a little sorrow for this man, because they just don't say that about me, but maybe I'm better off that way. I think I'm probably better off that way. But they put him in jail twice. And you have to see what they put him in jail. And he was threatened by the judge. This man was told, you're going to get 15 years in jail if you don't give up Trump. And he was told that. You're going to get 15 years in jail. And he made a plea deal because he didn't want to spend the rest of his life. And he was told that viciously. We're living in a fascist state. He was told that viciously. So you can go to jail for 4 months, 5 months, or you can get 15 years in jail. So do a plea. Almost who wouldn't do that plea? Everyone does those pleas. It's a horrible thing. There's a whole group of lawyers that fight that. It's so unfair. It's so unfair. But they destroyed his life. So many other things. You look at Southern District didn't want to bring the case. Nobody wanted to bring the case. And then you know who didn't want to bring the case? Most of all is Bragg. Bragg didn't want to bring it, but then he brought it, and they tried to make it a different case. They didn't say legal expense equal legal expense. Again, if I wrote down and paid a lawyer, and by the way, this was a highly qualified lawyer. Now, I'm not allowed to use his name because of the gag order, but you know, he's a sleazebag. Everybody knows that. Took me a while to find out, but he was effective. He did work, but he wasn't a fixer. He was a lawyer. You know, they like to use the word fixer. He wasn't a fixer. He was a lawyer. At the time, he was a fully accredited lawyer. Now, he got into trouble not because of me. He got into trouble because he made outside deals and he had something to do with taxi cabs and medallions and he borrowed money. And that's why he went. And then he pled to three election violations. And as soon as I saw that, I said, I wonder why he did that. He pled, he took a deal. Now, he took a deal because he wanted to get off. In other words, I'll take a plea deal and I want to get off. And he wanted to make a deal with the Southern District. And they wrote the worst report I think I've ever seen on any human being, other than the report that was written on James Comey by the Inspector General, a very great Inspector General, actually, wrote a report that was so bad. This one was possibly worse. The Southern District, the judge didn't let us use it. He said, it's hearsay. I said, it's not hearsay. Wouldn't let us use it. This is about the man. But he got in trouble for a very simple reason, because he was involved with borrowing a lot of money and he did something with the banks. I don't know if it's defrauded the banks, but something happened. You guys know what it is. And then in addition to that, he gave up on three things where he wasn't guilty. In fact, they were going to testify in that. The head of the FEC, the Brad Smith, the election expert, #1 rated in the country, was going to testify. He took a plea on three things. He just added them in because that gave him more bargaining power with respect to me. But the three things that he pled on, having to do with the election and having to do essentially a little bit with me, they weren't crimes. They weren't crimes. Nor is paying money under an NDA. So we have an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. It's a big deal, a non-disclosure agreement. Totally honorable, totally good, totally accepted. Everybody has them. Every company has non-disclosure agreements. But the press called it slush fund and all sorts of other things. Hush money, hush money. It's not hush money. It's called a non-disclosure agreement. And most of the people in this room have a non-disclosure agreement with their company. It's a disgrace. So it's not hush money. It's a non-disclosure agreement, totally legal, totally common. Everyone has it. And what happened is he signed a non-disclosure agreement with this person, I guess other people, but it's totally honest. You're allowed to make the payment. You don't have to make it. You can make it any way you want. It's a non-disclosure agreement. And he signed that. And there was nothing wrong with signing it. And this should have been a non-case. And everybody said it was a non-case, including Bragg. Bragg said, until I ran for office. And then they saw the polls. I was leading the Republicans. I was leading the Democrats. I was leading everybody. And all of a sudden, they brought it back. It's a very sad thing that's happening in our country. And it's a thing that I'm honored. In a way, I'm honored. It's not that it's pleasant. It's very bad for family. It's very bad for friends and businesses. But I'm honored to be involved in it because somebody has to do it. And I might as well keep going and be the one. But I'm very honored to be involved because we're fighting for our Constitution. The money that was paid legally. There was nothing illegal. In fact, the lawyer in creating the NDA, because at that time he was a fully accredited lawyer. He wasn't a fixer. I never thought of him as a fixer. The media called him a fixer, or the prosecutors called him a fixer. He was a lawyer, and he was fairly good. Later on, I didn't like what he did. I didn't like, for instance, I didn't like that when I became president, he went around and made deals with companies. When I heard that, he was gone. He was gone. And he had payments coming to him And a lot of this involved things that are very simple. There was nothing wrong. This was standard stuff, all standard stuff. Everything involved was standard. There was no crime here. In fact, I just watched a couple of the reports. You watched Jonathan Turley, Andy McCarthy, Greg Jarrett. You look at all of these people, Mark Levin, all very talented people, great people, many more, many more. And they don't know me, essentially. They don't know me. They're legal scholars and experts. But I look at them. I watched Turley this morning saying, there's no crime here. Everybody says there's no crime here, except for this DA that's got the city out of control with crime. It's absolutely out of control. So we have an NDA that was signed. We have legal expenses. And here's the thing on legal expenses. You have 100 where they say they do a charge. I just recorded this out. Falsification of business records in the first degree. It sounds so bad. I said, wow. And even my own lawyers, I get very upset with them because they don't say what it is. They say, well, falsification of legal records is only a felony. Well, that's a lot. Is only they say a misdemeanor. But they try and bring it up to a felony if there's 2 crimes. They have all these different things. The other thing is they missed the statute of limitations by a lot because this was very old. They could have brought this 7 years ago instead of bringing it right in the middle of the election. So they missed the statute of limitations. They did everything. Now, let me give you the good news. The good news is last night, we just got a report this morning. In the history of politics, I believe, maybe I'm wrong, somebody will find that I'm wrong, maybe, but I don't think so. They raised with small money donors, meaning like $21, $42, $53, $38, a record $39 million in about a 10-hour period. No, think of that. I like those people. Because so far, I guess it's backfired. Now, I don't know. I'd rather not have it happen. I don't want to have it backfire. I don't know win this thing legitimately, not because they were stupid and did things that they shouldn't be doing. They shouldn't have brought this case. They were saying it this morning. This is a case that should not have been brought. I watched Andy McCarthy say this is a case that should not have been brought. And that was this morning. But they all say that. Every legal scholar has said it. And these are great people. They really understand the law. The other thing, a poll just came out. The first poll, I don't know, maybe others will be bad. But a poll just came out a little while ago. The Daily Mail. Does anybody read the Daily Mail? It's very good. They have a good poll. At least I like it today. And the Daily Mail just came out with a poll. And it has Trump up 6 points in the last 12 hours. 6 points. 6 points since this happened. Who thought this could happen? Because the people of our country know it's a hoax. They know it's a hoax. They get it. You know, they're really smart. And it's really something. So we're going to be appealing this scam. We're going to be appealing it on many different things. He wouldn't allow us to have witnesses. He wouldn't allow us to talk. He wouldn't allow us to do anything. The judge was a tyrant. And you got to see that with Bob Costello, a fine man. I've never seen anything like it. And neither has anybody that was in that courthouse where he demanded that the courthouse be cleared. Now, the good news is most of the people in the courthouse were the media. And anybody that was in the media, if you're fair, you'll say, wow. That was anger. That was crazed. He was crazed. And the reason that Bob Costello acted a little bit upset, which I think he has a right to, was that every question he was being asked was being objected to by the other side and sustained by the judge. Sustained. I think he did it many times. I don't know what the number, many times. Even I was sitting there saying, and these were basic questions. And I never saw anybody treated that way by a judge. And I've been treated very badly by two other judges also, because it's all the same thing. And it all comes out of the White House. Crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country. He's the worst president in the history of our country, the most incompetent. He's the dumbest president we've ever had. He's the dumbest president, most incompetent president, and he's the most dishonest president we've ever had. And so many of he's a Manchurian candidate. You take a look at the way he treats China, Russia, so many others. You know, I ended the Russian pipeline. It was dead. He comes in and he approves it. And he gets 3.5 million, meaning 3.5 million is paid to the family, his family, from the mayor of Moscow's wife. And I said, where did that come from? Nobody wants to talk about it. But he's a very big danger to our country. And the only way they think they can win this election is by doing exactly what they're doing right now, win it in the courts, because they can't win it at the ballot box. So we're going to show them that, oh, we're going to fight. It's actually, I don't know, it's something where I'm wired in such a way that a lot of people would have gone away a long time ago. They would have gone away after impeachment hoax #1. That was a total hoax. I had great support from the Republican Party, though. Then you had impeachment hoax #2. And then they formed the committee. How about they formed the committee of thugs, the J6 committee of thugs. And they took their records and they destroyed all of the records after the committee was abandoned, because those records were great for us. Now, can you imagine if Republicans did that? Everybody would have been in jail by now. Think of it, the unselect, I call it the unselect, they call it select committee, I call it the unselect committee of thugs. They meet, it's 100% Democrat and 2 past Republicans that are no longer Republicans, that are no longer in business anymore, thank you. But it was all Democrats and 2 wayward Republicans, Liz Cheney and crying Adam Kinzinger. He cries every time he goes on television. He's the most emotional human being I think I've ever seen. And that was our representatives. These 2 people were our rep. So they had all this stuff that they're leaking. And then when it came time to look at the records, like where the police said and the Capitol Guard said that I supplied, think of it, that I recommended as many soldiers or National Guard as you want. 10,000. If you had 500, you wouldn't have had a problem. There wouldn't have been a J6. But Nancy Pelosi and the group didn't want it anyway. So they have testimony to all of that I did not attack the Secret Service agent in the front of a car. You know, these are strong people. And I supposedly went to the driver and I grabbed him around the neck. And he rebuffed me. And then I went to the other guy, who I think is a black belt in karate. And he's slightly younger than me, maybe 35 years, 40 years, 50 years. And I grabbed him around the neck and said, he's a black belt in karate. They know how to get somebody from around their neck. They would have gone like this, and that would be the end of that. Actually, I had a friend that said, you shouldn't dispute that. That makes you look like the toughest cookie we've ever seen. You should have let that go on. But the fact is, it never happened. It was all made up. And that was proven to be made up. It proved to be a false story. And they deleted and destroyed all of that information, every ounce of it. We're dealing with a corrupt government. We have a corrupt country. Our elections are corrupt. Our borders are open. Our borders are going to be closed very soon. November 5th is going to be the most important day in the history of our country. Now, when I say that, because my people are always saying, do this, because we're fighting for America, DonaldJTrump.com. I hope everybody watching right now, DonaldJTrump.com, because it really makes a difference. They have a lot of money on the other side. I don't know where they get it. Nobody knows where they get it. But for some reason, they get money. But they're not on the side of our country. In many ways, I think they hate our country. Who on earth can want open borders where people are allowed to pour in from countries unknown, from places unknown, from languages that we haven't even heard of. We have people sitting in schools with languages where very few people have ever even heard of these languages. It's not like Spanish or French or Russian. Languages unknown. We have people coming from corners of the globe, and many of them are not good people. Many terrorists, record levels of terrorism, record levels of terrorists have come into our country. Record. They've never seen anything like it. You know, there was a report that in 2019, I don't believe this, by the way, the media gave it, and it was good for me, believe it or not. They said in 2019, there were no terrorists recorded that came into our country. I don't believe that. I don't think that's possible. But 2019 was a Trump year. I don't believe that that could be possible. But they said no terrorists came into our country. So let's say it was close. Let's say it was close. But now record levels of terrorists, record levels, the highest level we've ever seen of terrorists are pouring into our country. You have China with just in the last few months, 29,000 people came in, and I looked at them on a line, and they look like perfect soldiers. They're almost all male, from 19 to 25. It looks like a recruiting exercise. They have beautiful tents. They have propane stoves. They have cell phones, the best you can buy. I said, what's going on? It looks like they're building an army right in our country. Now, I don't think that would happen, right? We're losing our country. And I really think that this is an event, what took place yesterday with this judge. Look, we have conflicted, but he's a crooked judge, and you'll understand that. And I say that knowing that it's very dangerous for me to say that, and I don't mind, because I'm willing to do whatever I have to do to save our country and to save our Constitution. I don't mind. So thank you. So we will continue the fight. We're going to make America great again. Very simple. When people fight MAGA, they say, we're going to fight. I watch Biden. We're going to fight MAGA. We're going to stop MAGA. It's make America great again. That's all it is. MAGA. Make America great again. Our country's in serious trouble. We owe $36 trillion. We were energy independent for the first time ever. And now we're begging Venezuela for oil. One statistic you have to hear. Venezuela was crime-ridden. Caracas, the cities, crime-ridden. 2 years ago, 3 years ago. They just reported a 72% drop in crime in the last year because all of their criminals, most of them, and the rest are coming in now, the ones that didn't come in. In Venezuela, their prisons have been emptied into the United States. Their criminals and drug dealers have been taken out of the cities and brought into the United States. And that's true with many other countries. The Congo has just released a lot of people from jail. Congo, Africa, just released a lot of people from their prisons and jails and brought them into the United States of America. This is what's happening to our country. And it's not sustainable by anyone. Little things like our kids can't have a Little League game anymore because you have tents and you have migrants living on the fields. That's the least of it. People are taking over our luxury hotels, migrants, and yet our veterans, our great veterans, are living on the streets like dogs. They're living on the streets. But migrants are living in luxury hotels and cities all over our country run by Democrats. So it's my honor to be doing this. It really is. It's a very unpleasant thing, to be honest. But it's a great, great honor. We're gonna do what I have to do. I'm gonna do it. And the support has been, that's why I mentioned the number of $39 million. That's why I mentioned we're up 6 points. And we went up a lot over the last month because everybody saw it was a rigged deal. It was a rigged trial. But we're going to make America great again. We're going to make it better than ever before. November 5th, remember, November 5th is the most important day in the history of our country. Thank you very much, everybody.
We're still in it. That's what I just heard.
What do you mean
That's
we're
what I
still
just
in it?
heard. We're still in it.
People, I think you got jaded because people went to you thinking that there was a chance that he was going to drop out of the race, which was never the case. Like, that was obvious.
Yeah.
I think that lately I've been hearing some of Trump's best speeches. I would not put that as one of his best. I feel like I'll be honest. I could tell that he was actually a little bit stressed.
Yeah, he's stressed.
I mean, that showed to, and you know what? Maybe that's not a bad thing because it did show. Because there's a lot of people that are on the red pilled side that are looking at this as like like this is just him being more popular. This is all part of the game. This is all part of the whatever. I think that this is actually taking a toll on him, as it should.
Let me tell you something. Pressure creates diamonds, baby. This is gonna make him harder than ever. And I'm telling you, bro, especially him dealing with these cases and he's seeing he's taking hit after hit in these cases, bro, and still ain't letting down. The man just held another press conference. He's a superhuman. In the chat, it says he's human. He's a superhuman. Because the man, I promise you, you're going to see him kick it in the high gear. You're going to see him kick it in the high gear. He's going to be doing rallies, all of that. Now that this whole thing is out of the way with the whole New York thing, just watch. Just watch, bro. He about to get busy. And he's leading in all the polls.
What do you think? So my Monday interviews for Fox News Radio on Monday are all about the timing of the sentencing being 4 days before the RNC. What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, they're trying to keep him stressed out. That's all this is, bro. It's just this right here is, like you said, election interference.
So let's play the game. Let's play the game that they actually don't just do probation. I mean, Trump said 178 years or 180 whatever years, which mathematically he's doing the amount that he can get per count, but there's a maximum penalty of 20. So the max is 20 years. He's obviously not going to get that. It's up, if I'm right, Casey or Cash, is it the judge that gets to decide the sentencing in this case? Typically that's the way that it is.
He's got to go by the sentencing guidelines.
So the sentencing guidelines could be up to 20 years. So, and this is obviously a leftist judge. He's not going to go that far, but say he does give jail time.
He's going that far.
You think he's going to
go that far? If you think he's getting 19 or less years, you are insane.
So you think he's going to actually get the 20 years?
He can't. He can't. If he does that, he ruins his own case. It'll be thrown out. He's never been arrested.
Yeah, but that's all they already got what they wanted. They wanted to say he's a convicted felon. That's
I get
all they
it,
wanted.
but if a judge was to do something like that, they got to take into account every other case that is similar to his case in his conviction or in his sentencing. He can't sentence beyond what is normal. He can't, unless it's a very aggravated something that it stands out in the case is like, this is atrocious, then he can give him an upward departure. But that ain't gonna happen because there's nothing. I can't even believe that they got the conviction. I'd be surprised if they even give him probation. Legally, he could just pay a fine. You don't have to do jail time.
So, convicted felon in this case, I based on what I understand and everything that I've gone through, you actually can still elect him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
There's nothing in the Constitution that prohibits, as far as I understand, that will prohibit him from.
Constitution lays out 3 requirements for a presidential candidate: natural born citizen, at least 35 years old, and has been a U.S. resident for 14 years.
But there's an amendment.
But that amendment is regarding insurrection. So the only charge that could have actually kept him from being electable was the one in Georgia talking about insurrection that never actually got filed because they knew that there was no grounds on it, yet they still talk about it. So if he would be found guilty and convicted of insurrection, which is what they were going on Colorado and some other states to pull him from the primaries. That's what they were trying to base it on, but there is no actual court case regarding insurrection. So if you've committed treason or insurrection or any of those, then you cannot actually be voted in as president. So at this time, this kind of felony, from all of my understanding, cannot actually. Somebody said earlier, we need to get
Lucas
the
on.
lawyer.
Lucas on. Luke, yeah, we
Lucas.
need to bring Lucas on the show at one point as soon as possible to get him to answer all these things.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Today, my main focus is going to be creating videos showing everything that he can't talk about. That's what my goal is today. I'm about to create a whole bunch of different videos and we're going to flood it. We're going to flood the internet today with, like Trump said, you can talk about it. We're going to talk about it. I'm going crazy today. That's what I'm going to do. You guys,
As you should. Yeah, I don't know. I did a truth this morning. I'm talking about it across the board. I talked to your friends from Pilled. I had a great, or one of the, I talked to Matthew. Great conversation. We'll talk
that's
about
my
that later.
guy, man. He's a good dude.
But yeah, it's just the thing that it was upsetting what happened, but to watch, like I had one of my oldest friends from Las Vegas, childhood friend, and I know that she is a absolute bonkers lefty. Like share a picture of Stormy Daniels and be like, "This is my hero," and I'm like, "Wow,
My hero?
like this is our hero," and it's like that's so because it's just there's so much hate over a man that nobody can outline why he's so bad. And I was watching Steven Crowder interview these 3 girls that were mid to late 20s. Some of them voted for Biden that are clearly voting for Trump in this election. But because of the world we live in and the shame that comes from being a, oh my God, conservative or voting for Trump, they couldn't even say it. They kept being like, I don't know if I can't really vote for Biden. They were doing everything they were saying to say they were voting for Trump, but wouldn't say it out loud because their death. One girl did because her profession depends on it. Like she works for private jet companies. So it was like, she's like, I'm voting for Trump because of my career. So the other 2 girls are deathly afraid. You could see it. They're not like the sharpest girls on the planet, but they're a little bit in the know. They know enough to actually have definitely be allowed to vote, obviously. And they couldn't bring themselves to say it out loud because they know that if this video gets shared, they're at risk of losing family, friends, and career, even though more people than they realize are actually on the same side. We're so deathly afraid to say it. And at this point, after what happened yesterday, we can't be that deathly afraid to say it anymore. And that's why I did it on my personal page today.
Yo, I made a determination last night, bro. After I talked with you guys and we got off, I sat and I'm like, you know what, man? Forget that. You know, one thing about me, when I have any type of fears, right? I face them head on. I run into them, literally. I'm about to go crazy, bro. I'm about to get loud, real loud. And you know what? Today, right now, man, you see, we got 721 people on here right now. So I haven't had these numbers since I got home. And I just want to say, you guys, I'm about to put in the work, right? I'm gonna sit in front of this computer today and I'm gonna put in a lot of work. And I'm gonna need all of y'all's help. You know, they took my platform. These numbers would be small to me back in the day. And now I'm excited about having 700 and now 31 people watching. All right. If you could, please do me the favor of going to all the different social media platforms that we're on. Please share the videos out, like the videos, help me kill the algorithm. A lot of people on my YouTube don't even know I'm home still. That's what's crazy. I still get people coming in the comments like on this one. And they're like, oh, I can't believe you're out. You know, it's like I'm home.
Yeah. And I'm going to be honest, the algorithm is, when they said, when Meta and they were like, we're going to not allow political posting, all this stuff, the next 2 weeks, my Instagram, my Facebook blew up. I had 100,000 views. By the way, that thing on the George Floyd thing, I've got more views than I've had in months by just simply saying this is the 4-year anniversary of George Floyd dying of a drug overdose. But that one's at about 250,000 or more now. Actually, it's over that. But 2 weeks, blew up, absolutely blew up. And I'm not like talking about this. This is very important to understand. I'm like, oh, they're full of crap. Like they're not really silencing political messaging. Since then, our page of 48,000 on Facebook can't get 15 live viewers at a time. They are absolutely squashing us. So Cash does Pilled. We might be moving Truth to Pilled in terms of the show, but the key is to stay on these platforms and continue to share short form content and if you don't want to make it, you share our content, you share the short stuff. And then when it comes to the ability for us to have a show, we put it on these networks that allow us to say whatever we want, to have freedom of speech and to not squash the algorithm. And yes, for people that get called grifters all the time, for us to maybe make $13 a show instead of lose money. there's follow, just continue to share, continue to follow, continue to post on these pages, and know that the algorithm is against us, which means it has to be direct contact with people.
So for everybody that's watching right now, we got 757 people. I've never seen these numbers since I've been home. This is great. Can you please do me a favor? Please. All right. Go to pilled.net, PILLED.net, and create an account. All right. Because we are going to be doing a lot more shows over there where we can just totally go crazy. We could talk about whatever we want. All right. And I love the platform. So if you guys can go over there, PILLED.net, pilled.net. My name on there is my name, Cash Lee Kelly. All you got to do is type my name in and I will pop up. Give me a follow over there. I would appreciate it. And on all these other social media platforms, if you can, please like these videos, spam that like button so we can crush this algorithm, because we got to get the word back out. And I ain't gonna lie to you, it gets a little off-putting for me. Like it's not as motivating as it once was when I come on certain platforms, because it's like, ain't nothing going on over there. They've got my numbers down, shadow banned. So it's like, why even go on that platform anymore? You know, but I do it anyway, because I'm like, well, I still got people on these platforms that do tune in. So for all of you that do, I appreciate you. But I'm trying to get my numbers all the way back up. It's Pilled, Valerie, PILLED.net.
You also can find Cash on OnlyFans as J6 Power Bottom. You can find him right there as well.
Russo, you are such a flaming homosexual. It's not even funny.
I like Tiled. We should name it Tiled. Real quick, before we get out of here, since we've got a little, and again, it's just such a funny, like, are you a grifter? I honestly, I think a lot of people that have watched our shows before, like, Cash, super Trump, ultra MAGA. I wouldn't even say ultra MAGA, MAGA.
Well, I'm ultra MAGA now, definitely at this point.
And I'll be honest, I'm on that path at this point. I mean, even watching Robert Kennedy Jr., which I have not been saying that I was going to vote for well over a couple months at this point. He was yesterday saying this is an abomination. You have Blagojevich, or whatever you pronounce his name, out of Chicago, who's a Democrat, talking about how this happened to him and now they've taken it to the next level. Like, it keeps getting worse and worse, to the point where it's like, if you have any semblance of faith in America, you have to have switched to this side at this. Like, you have to become that ultra MAGA. Like, I have not been this excited to vote for Trump since probably, right back in 2020 at this point. And the fact that we see him as a human today, as somebody that is exhausted and tired and beat up, I think means a lot. So
yeah, 100%. We got to,
I want to share this.
We got to be his voice, bro. We have to be the voice. All of us, every single person that's watching right now. If you don't like coming on camera and talking, then share our stuff, because I'm going to tell you, I'm about to get, people are about to not like me again. It's about to be the point where, you have them side of friends where they're like, yo, man, he's just going too far on this Trump stuff. Yeah, that's about to be me all over again. I'm about to go crazy, because if they could get him, they could get us, man. And he's the only one that seems to be standing up and saying something for us. He's the only president that we've had in our time that really wants to do something for us as Americans, not as conservatives, not as Democrats or liberals or Republicans. No, he wants to do something for Americans. He was trying to rebuild the middle class. Really, the way I looked at it is he was trying to eradicate the low class and not have a low class. He wanted everybody to be middle class. And that's what America should be. We shouldn't have a poor society in any way, shape, or form. He was creating more business, creating more jobs, creating more opportunities. He was trying to help people that were nonviolent offenders get out of prison, which he did. He helped me. I'm home right now due to the First Step Act. All these things is things that he was putting into law, allowing to happen to make America great again. When people say that that's racist, you're fucking retarded. It's not. It's not.
Can't say the R word.
Whatever. Fuck this platform. I don't care nothing about these platforms. I really don't. I go to Pilled. And then when people start looking for me and they see these videos, they'll hear Pilled. When they play the replay, I'm like, oh, he's not on here no more. They must abandon him because he says shit that is too true, and we can't say these words. No, fuck that. We can say whatever words we want to on Pilled. So go to pilled.net and create your account over there, because it's time. We got to be louder, you guys. We have to be louder, not divisive towards any of the people. The people, they're just as confused as we were before. So don't get super upset at liberals that are regular Americans like you and me that don't comprehend where we're coming from. because we used to be them people too. I used to be a person that wouldn't have understood me back in the day. So we got to give them some grace, and we got to give them a little, a little leeway until we can show them what it is. And that's what we got to start doing, is showing all these things, all these bills that got passed through under this Trump administration that made America great. That's what we have to do. Instead of just, oh, you just hate Trump or you support Nancy Pelosi or whatever it is, let them support whoever they want to, and then just show them why you don't. That's all. We don't got to be toxic towards these people. No, we're trying to get Americans to come together. I don't give a damn what political party you side with. We need to come together for the betterment of America as a whole, for the people as a whole. And Trump is trying to do that. That's why I go so hard when it comes to President Trump. That's why I'm such a Trump supporter. It's because Trump supports the people. We support the people that support us. That's how life works. Support the people who support you. And this is the president that I've seen in our lifetime that has done more for the American people than any other president. I'm 35 years old. I can't speak to a past administration when I wasn't alive. Really don't give a fuck about them. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. I don't. I care about right now what is affecting us in our everyday lives. And the one person that's trying to change what's going on in America for the American people is Donald Trump. Plain and simple. If you like Joe Biden, I don't know what universe you're living in. I don't know what rock you're hiding under. But at this point, everybody should see. I was on last night and I was talking with a brother, and I was playing Xbox last night real late. And I'm talking to the whole group chat on the Xbox while we're playing Call of Duty, right? And I start talking about politics, and I'm asking them if they've registered to vote. And he's like, hell yeah. And these are some hood brothers, you know what I'm saying, from all around. One of them's from Michigan. And he goes, hell yeah, man, I'm voting for Trump, bro. And I'm like, exactly. I said, why are you voting for Trump? And he starts giving a rundown, and it would have blew your mind last night. I'm thinking I need to start recording my conversations that I get on when I get on this Xbox. You know what I'm saying? But that's the whole thing. Everybody in America is starting to see this. People everywhere are starting to see, and it's not even with the policies or nothing. They're looking at the prices of everything. And that's the main thing that was talked about. They're like, yo, bro, milk costs $5 a gallon right now, man. Fuck Sleepy Joe. That's what they were saying on Xbox Live last night. And it was great. I'm like, oh, these is my people over here too. This is great. So now I was doing what I do. I was doing it on Xbox last night. So it's like everything that I'm doing in life, everywhere that I go, any place that I see people, when I talk to them, I'm talking to them about what's going on in our country so we can make a change. And if they're not registered to vote, I'm sending out links to register to vote. If they're right in front of my face, I'm gonna keep my laptop case. Shout out to Dan and Dawn for the laptop and the case, and I'm gonna have me some voter registration in there. And that's what I'm gonna be doing. That's what's got to be done.
Real quick, I got a call in 3 minutes, so I want to make sure I get this out. To answer this, there's one comment right here. He'll exonerate himself. The way that they did it, he actually can't. I actually found that out. He cannot actually, because they made it a state crime for a federal offense as a felony. So it's something that he could actually never fully clear from his record based on, again, what I've learned. This is something great for Lucas to have on the show. The last thing that I will say, let me share this real quick. Also, at one point, we got to have a whole discussion on, and yeah, Cash, share your Instagram and Twitter in a second. Corey, I actually want to make an apology to our following. I made a mistake bringing him on our shows on Truth. I think he is somebody that presented himself on the shows as a decent human, and I realize he really might be that way, but he loves to be an anarchist. That's what he does, and he's not a good human. I got to share some messages with you, Cash, off to the side. What he was saying about you, like he's a violent Latin King gang member. Like I'm like, but people can't. It was very fascinating. Yeah. It was just very fascinating, and so I want to make that apology. But the last thing that Corey sucked. Dawn hated Corey, and she was right. He was a piece of shit. Real quick, guys, because again, for years we do this. We don't make any money off of it. I'm going to share this. We have some new shirts. I'm excited. I haven't worn a Trump shirt. I wear Trump University baseball. But this one, I'm pretty dang excited to wear. Proud to vote for a felon. If you go to Awake Not Woke store, which I have scrolling on the bottom of the page right now, go ahead and check that out. Let's see, where are we? Yeah. So it's Proud to Vote for a Felon, Trump 2024. Go ahead and get one of these shirts. If you use if you use Truth, it's 20% off. So will you vote for a felon? I'm voting for a felon. I think it's also kind of funny. So crazy that's where we've come to. So I got to go catch my call. I will catch you guys later. God bless.
my Twitter handle, for those of you who don't know, is at Cash Lee Kelly 1. My name, Cash Lee Kelly, the number 1. On Instagram, it is the Cash Lee Kelly. On Facebook, it's just my name, Cash Kelly. So if you guys could go over there, I'd appreciate it. Everybody that's on my YouTube, if you could, please go to pilled.net. Everybody that's watching, really, go to pilled.net, PILLED.net, and create your account totally free. And it's total freedom of speech created by Americans. We got to support our industry over here. We have a great group of Americans that have created a platform for us to have total freedom of speech. I love it. It's amazing. And we get some fun shows over there too. Like we do some conspiracy talks, but I'm about to go super political. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm getting heavy political. I'm going super full on MAGA. That's what I'm about to do. I'm going full on MAGA over there, and we're gonna just be. I'm gonna start covering a lot more news and just being loud. That's what we have to do. All right. So that platform, be expecting. Sometimes we'll do the fun shows with the conspiracy, maybe Mondays and Fridays, but everything else is gonna be straight political. Really, this is kind of a conspiracy in itself when you think about what they're doing to Trump. It's its own new conspiracy, you know, and it's very relevant. So this is great for Pilled. Great content. Besides that, yes, on all these platforms, I'm still on them. I'm not leaving them just yet, but I need your guys' help to get my numbers back up. So if you can go on my Facebook and go through my reels and share some of them, there's a lot of great content over there. Same thing with YouTube. Same thing with Instagram. I need your guys' help. On Facebook, I had 380,000, pushing 400,000 followers. I have about 5,700 right now. On Instagram, I had 256 or 264, something like that, 1,000 followers. They took that away from me. So now I'm over there with like 2,300 followers. So yeah, they've quieted my voice. And every day when I do stuff, I see new people coming in. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe you're home. And I've been home for 4 months, which means that they're suppressing my videos. They will not let my videos reach the people who are notified. On YouTube, we got 54,000 people. 54,000 people on my YouTube, and not even 10% of them know that I'm home yet. That's crazy. So if you guys can help me letting everybody know that I'm home, share my stuff out and say, look, Cash is back. Tag everybody that used to follow me that you know and say, look, Cash is back. This is this page. That's all I need you to do. I appreciate it so much. Casey, you got anything else?
Just don't trust the government.
Never trust the government. Never. They're rotten. So until next time, you guys, I'm about to get to work right now creating these videos. We're going to talk about Trump's gag order and everything that he can't talk about. That's my mission today. All right. I appreciate you guys. Be on the lookout for them reels. Get notified by ringing the little bell icon on all the little platforms. On Facebook, you got to go into the little 3 dots and hit favorite. I think that's how you do it. But yeah, please help me. Help me so we can help Trump and take back our country this November. All right. And if you're not registered to vote, go register to vote. And if you know somebody that's not registered to vote, teach them how to register to vote. All right. Let's do this. Catch you guys on the next one. Unite, don't fight, be a street light, because only you can be the change you wish to see in the world. And when you get too stressed out, you got to remember to pray, America, because without God, everything falls apart, like our country right now, unless we get Trump back in office.
Woo!
Yeah, brother.